Hey everybody, welcome to Hit Rewind. It's another perfect concert playlist. Basically the last one of the 70s. Would you say that, Ron, this is our last call?
Probably, I'd be in
Yeah.
there.
I mean, there's some artists we're going to discuss that start in the 70s, but this is the last where it's their heyday.
Yes.
So, and I honestly don't know a better way to end it because I love all three bands. One, I'm crazy about. So we're going to be doing Steely Dan, Supertramp, and ELO, a.k.a. Electric Light Orchestra, a.k.a. what was it, as Jeff Healey's? No, not Jeff Healey.
Jefferson Airplane.
No. What's the lead singer? It's not Electric Light Orchestra anymore. It's referred to as something else. But I have to look it up because I'm an idiot.
We are prepared.
Yes. Well, I prepare sometimes, but I also have a terrible memory.
I'm with you, man.
Electric Light Orchestra is probably, you would probably put them in the wheelhouse that Queen is in, with huge sound and kind of.
Maybe a little bit. I
Cross.
think they have more of a jazzy feel to them than
Yeah,
Queen would
but
have.
I feel like they're a band that could cross audiences.
All right.
Like they're rock, but they're also kind of classical music tinged. They have, like I said, orchestra, but they also have a little bit of disco-y in there sometimes.
Definitely.
Yeah. And still churning out great music. I had no idea that they got back together some time ago and put out some great albums. I did mostly the known stuff, but I've heard the last two albums and they're really great.
Yeah.
It's Jeff Lynne. I don't know why I couldn't remember Jeff Lynne.
Up until preparing for this, I had no idea either that they were still together. They're back together.
Yeah, it's around 2000, I think they got back together after 15 years away or so. But they don't do albums the way they used to do albums, where they would put them out albums every single year. As you get older, I think you run out of material you want to write about, or you just get tired,
You get to the point where you've got enough of a back catalog or at least enough popularity and money put away. You can afford to just take your time.
Right, because it seems like a lot of it is, you have to make up all the costs of recording the album, the videos, especially during the 80s and early 90s where they spent so much money. And then they're like, how much debt am I in? And you're on tour for a year and a half just to make up for that debt.
Now you can do it all on a laptop. So
plus, like Bob Seger said, a lot of artists are still making new music, but the fans still just want to hear the peak, the greatest hits.
Yeah.
So of the three bands, I think we all have them in the same order. So you go first. We have Steely Dan opening.
Yep. And that is no slight on Steely Dan.
No.
Okay, so I'm going to start off with, of course, Reelin' in the Years. I have Do It Again. Ricky, Don't Lose That Number. And Peg. This is one in particular I really, really like. It's because it got me looking into Tom Scott, who I just saw. I think I shared it with you guys. It was Tom Scott on a saxophone among like three other saxophonists.
Oh, okay.
So it was like an all-star band with all these people that have been really big in the day.
Mm-hmm.
And Tom Scott was a name I didn't know, but I knew his stuff.
Oh, okay.
And he's an awesome sax player on that one.
Did you know Chevy Chase was the original drummer? Original drummer.
He would take that.
Drum and drummer coming to the theaters. Jim Carrey and Chevy Chase and drum and drummer. No, I just like he was there before they really broke out, but he's good at music, but he preferred just to do the comedy stuff. So
again, had no idea he was a musician until then.
Yeah. But I was just thinking, like, Steely Dan is one of those where it's a very particular era, very particular sound. And I know there's hardcore fans of them who they're going to see our songs and be like, no, that's the basics. I'm sorry. It's just the way I'm not the biggest, like, I don't know everything about Steely Dan, but I'm like, it comes on, I'm like, I'm good. I'll listen to this. But go ahead with your list. Sorry.
Well, sometimes I try to dig in deeper.
You usually do better than
sometimes I do, but when it comes to someone like this one in particular, I don't know if this is a group. They've only got about couple of big albums.
Yeah.
And is what it is. Well, at least back in the day. Obviously, they've gotten back into doing things. And did they do stuff on their own, too?
Yeah, I want to say they split up in 80 or 81 after like 5 albums. Yeah. And for the longest time, they were separate. Then they came back, I think, in 2002?
2000, something like that.
But, they're still sporadically like together.
Yeah. And they both did. There's plenty of body of work.
Yeah.
One thing I didn't realize, go back to the Tom Scott thing. He was one of the original members of the Blues Brothers band.
Really?
He did not get into the movies. There was some sort of a wage dispute or something. I don't know what it was exactly, but I did not know that. All right, so where were we? Peg, that's my number 4. And obviously, as always, guys, I have no real particular order. Sometimes I try to think, I find I like what would make a good opener, but...
Well, this is the first episode we've done on the fly.
Yeah.
I didn't realize you were coming up. I'm like, we got to do a live episode and whatever. And then we had like, let's get our list together now.
Yep. So I'd say it's not too bad for just throwing it together. My Old School. Absolutely love
I almost put that one, yeah.
Dirty Work, Dr. Wu's a fun one. It's just okay. So digging into their newer stuff, I found a song called "The Last Mall."
Oh, I don't know that one.
It's just essentially about, the death of everything we used to know.
Yeah,
I think, but maybe there's more depth to it than that. I don't know. Maybe I'm not very good at reading beyond the surface level, but it's a fun song. Give it a listen. Any Major Dude Will Tell You.
Another one I almost put, yeah.
Yep, and Deacon Blues.
All right. Mine is fairly similar to yours. I have a few kind of off-kilter ones that didn't really get on your list. Reeling in the Years, I felt like was a good way to start, especially because it, like kind of a wake up. It was that or Hey 19. I wasn't sure what to go with.
That's another good one. Yeah.
So Hey 19, I love when he's talking to her and like realizing, no, we have nothing in common. Yeah, I'm in a band, you're a groupie, you want to sleep with me or whatever, but there's nothing there. Like, I'm trying to talk to you about music that I grew up on that made me, and you don't know what I'm talking about.
Yep.
And Ricky, Don't Lose That Number. I really love that one. Dirty Work, which I did not know about until they used it in that other Suicide Squad trailer. You know, the second one that came out, the good Suicide Squad movie. I think that's a really good song. Peg. The funny is, I don't recall them ever saying Peg in the song.
I don't think so.
They talk about movies and stuff like that and hanging out. I really like that song. Black Cow is next, which is a little more obscure. FM, which is the theme song to the movie FM. Not a lot of people know about this, but it was kind of like the basis for WKRP. It was like the year before. Okay. It's about a ragtag radio station that's being bought by a corporation and going to be shut down. And they fight back. So they do the theme song to that. A lot of people think it's called No Static at All. And it was later sampled by the rap band Third Base. And their song was called No Static at All. And then I wanted to end it with Do It Again.
Do It Again. Yeah. Yes. Wait, did I not have it? Did I have it on there? I did. Okay.
Yeah, obviously.
No, I just noticed here, I did this a little differently. Usually I have my list here in front of me and I just did a screenshot of spot.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
So I'm noticing I got a lot of songs from the album Showbiz. What's that called? But like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of my songs are all from the same album, which says a lot about that album.
Yeah. But... All right. So next is Supertramp. How do you start off Supertramp set?
This one is just kind of thrown together. I did put a little effort into ELO when I get to it. Supertramp started off with Logical Song. Goodbye Stranger. Give a Little Bit. This is one of those songs, for whatever reason, and don't hate me, I always forget that they did.
Yeah, I always thought, for years, I thought it was Fleetwood.
Yeah.
I thought it was a Fleetwood Mac song.
Take the Long Way Home is an absolute favorite of mine.
I thought was Fleetwood Mac. For years, I thought both those songs were Fleetwood Mac songs. Yeah.
Bloody Well Right is just too much fun.
Right. Bloody Well Right.
Too right.
It feels almost like a Monty Python song.
Bloody Well Right. Even in the quietest moments. This one is kind of a long and slow start, but I love the lyrics of it. And if they did this, it would throw people off. Everybody would know right away what the song is, but are there birds in here? What's going on here? But just suddenly went outside. I'm like, anyway, but it's a good quiet song for kind of bringing things down a little bit.
Yeah.
So Dreamer, Downstream is another kind of a love song type of thing that I really like. Breakfast in America. And my number 20 would be If Everyone Was Listening. My number 20, my number 10.
Okay. So yeah, I think we always try to do like from top to bottom, the least amount of songs and slowly build higher as we go. Like you want your headliner to have the most songs usually. That's almost how it always works. Yeah. So I had 8 songs from Steely Dan. I have 8 songs from Supertramp as well. So I start off with Dreamer. And in my head, I just kind of have like the audience is getting ready, whatever, and slowly the lights are coming up. You hear like just a little spotlight on the singer, Dreamer, na-na-na-na-na. You know, that screen behind him starting to show the images and stuff.
There you go.
Then kicks in with, that's kind of a warm up. Usually I like to start off with a rockin' song, but this one's to set a tone.
Right.
Then a Logical Song to kind of kick it in. And Bloody Well Right, Breakfast in America, Give a Little Bit, It's Raining Again.
Good one.
And then I kind of want to wrap it up with Goodbye. I was tortured on this one, by the way. Goodbye Stranger or Take the Long Way Home. Either way, either one of them could end the concert, but I just couldn't make up my mind. Yeah.
What was the Rain one?
It's Rain.
Yeah, that was one that just barely missed my list.
Yeah. The closer ELO is one where I have 12 songs from. I could have gone 22 songs. It was very hard to ditch some stuff.
This is one of those groups I do believe we have every album of, or at least from the 70s, sitting in that box at home when I was growing up.
We had the greatest hits. I remember that was one of the very first CDs we bought. I don't think we ever had it on cassette, but Mom says that we always had it around. So it was just as big as Queen and Eagles in our house. Yeah, it's so interesting. Their expansive sound, the stuff that he was trying to do. Like if you start off in the early days, he's trying to bring back some nostalgia and some classic rock and roll, but also kind of expanding upon it. It's almost prog rock in what he's trying to do.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah. And then, by the mid-70s, he's doing arena rock. Late 70s, got the disco influence. Of course, he did the soundtrack for Xanadu, a movie I've seen many times. I still am not sure what it's about. But that's
not the point.
I know. It's a feel. It's a cocaine-fueled disco feel, whatever, but I love the music. And then it kind of gets calmer. Almost after Xanadu, it almost like they brought themselves back down to earth, back the way they were in the 70s, where they want to get back to their roots.
Yeah.
And of course, they broke up eventually because the album wasn't selling as well. But, they have, apparently their tour is insane. Like, they're just huge
I would
shows.
imagine. I would love to see them live.
Yeah.
And they're one of those bands, what you were talking about being, like, these bands being closer to Queen, but they have a prog rock feel to me. Like, at least ELO does. I don't know how to speak to the other two, but ELO definitely has that feel. I'd put them more in the realm of like Floyd or something.
Okay. Floyd. Okay. Yeah, but Floyd didn't have as many arena songs. No. And Jeff Lynne has a very unusual, particular voice, and he's always been a really good producer. And of course, we know after he left the band, they started Traveling Wilburys, and he's basically responsible for producing those two albums.
Okay.
And, so well respected by basically anybody in the music industry for keeping it like real when it comes to complexity and stuff like that and human emotion. And never really selling out. Because, I truly believe that while Xanadu was a disco movie, a disco soundtrack, he believed in the sound. He wasn't doing it because disco was popular. He's like, this lines up with what I'm doing.
Yep.
All right, so where's your list start?
Okay, this one I did put a little bit of effort into as far as the order goes. So there's a song called The Prologue that's the prologue to the song Twilight.
Okay.
And I think that's got a really interesting electronic type of sound to it. Vocoder voices.
Well, and Twilight almost made my list too. It's so good.
So good.
Yeah.
That's the way you've torn down the previous stage. Everyone's coming out. It's dark, leading into it, and then just bring up the light show. And it's like, you get that. It's very much a good 70s. Oh, I don't know how to explain. I guess disco fits because that's like, what's the description I'm looking for?
It's a light show. It's like Star Wars. The way that we want lasers and bright lights.
Futuristic.
Yeah, it's the next step.
Yes. And I love that.
Synthesizers, lasers. it's trying to focus on the coming thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, see, now I was torn between opening with the song Fire on High, which is another instrumental.
Okay.
Really good. But then I saw the prologue and I'm like, oh, no. That's got to be our opener. So I start with the prologue leading into Twilight. Don't Bring Me Down. And yes, it's not Bruce, it's Gruce. For years, I thought it was Bruce.
Are you serious?
It's Gruce.
Okay, so there's a guy I used to work with. This is a very long time ago in a warehouse, and his name was Bruce. And he was basically, if Droopy Dog was a human, except without the cunning, I always win, no matter how depressed. I'm so dead. I got full freight. And we used to walk up to him all the time, be like, when he was really depressed or whatever, like, don't bring me down. And Tony, my friend, who also worked in the background, would go, Bruce. And he goes, you guys should stop that now. It's not funny. I really thought it was Bruce.
Yeah, I did for years.
Forget it. It's still Bruce.
It's still always going to be Bruce.
It's going to be Bruce.
My brother-in-law's last name, it's got to be Bruce. All right. The Mr. Blue Sky, and then we're moving into Do Ya.
Dun, 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 dun. That's how I start mine off. I love Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. It might be my favorite animated movie.
Yes.
I love how it ends with that song.
Yes.
It's so optimistic and fun.
I always said it's another one where you thought I say it wrong. Every time something comes up similar to it, I call it the flip the fleur. We watched it a few weeks ago with my kids. They were both home and like, you know what? Let's dig out an old movie. We watched that and I'm like, that's not even close to what he says.
My favorite thing about that movie, the side note, is Mr. T. Flintlock Wood. I was like, are you saying Flintlock and then Wood? Or are you saying Flint Lockwood, which is his name? He's all like, Flintlock Wood.
Flint don't like wood. Flint burns wood.
Go ahead.
Do Ya. Fire on High is a good mid-ground thing where we're going to call this an instrumental breakdown and make it even longer than it is on the album. Of course, you have to. That's another note I was thinking was listening to this on the way up here today. I'm like, I'm not going to listen to this whole 30 songs on the trip up here because they're so long.
Yeah. But every single one of them basically has you going dun 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 dun,
yep.
dun, dun, dun.
So moving on to Living Thing, Showdown, Hold On Tight, and they covered Roll Over Beethoven at one point. I've got to hear that.
Oh no, it's so good.
Oh,
it's so
their
good.
version of it. People have covered this all day long, but the way they interpreted it, so good.
It's one of the first. I think the first song of theirs that really broke through.
Yes.
Yeah, the overture I think was kind of like, hey, who are these guys? But the Roll Over Beethoven and Rock and Roll's King are the ones that really like said, oh, they're bringing back classic rock and roll.
Mixed in with a little bit of classical music.
I was going to say, yeah, but also not drowning in an old sound, like nostalgia, but remembering
they added their own
they added their own spin to it.
Oh, and then I ended with the epilogue from that album.
Oh, okay.
So
these are all the hits. There's nothing unusual that you've probably never heard of in here. And if I could, I would do the whole set list for you. We've only done that once, though, with the Beatles. So I start off with Mr. Blue Sky, like I think I've before. And I think that's kind of like a bump, like get you bounce, whatever. Then Don't Bring Me Down. Just like really. Yeah. Last Train to London, which I think a lot of people forget. Maybe if I redid this list, I think I would move Last Train further down because it's a step calmer. Living Thing, Evil Woman, which I have a coworker that plays pranks on me all the time. And every time she does, I go, Evil Woman! And it works every time. But then the Evil Woman apparently had a change of heart, so now she's a sweet talking woman. Oh, that's what it is. Then I'm going to bring it down to kind of cleanse the palate. Telephone Line. It's more of a calmer, sedate song, kind of just cleanse it a little bit, and then Turn to Stone. I mean, just come on, right back into the jump, bouncy song, whatever. Hold On Tight. I love Hold On Tight.
Yes,
most of these songs are very positive. Hold On Tight. It's just like, yeah,
I love that one.
Yeah, it's their equivalent of Don't Stop Believing.
So I almost made that my last song.
Yeah,
it was kind of a good positive really message to leave.
Yeah,
but I just
Showdown, which, have you ever seen the movie Kingpin? I'm sure you had to sit there like 50 times when I lived with you.
Yeah, we watched it.
Yeah, I was going to say. That end when Ernie McCracken and Munson are going into the final tournament or whatever, and they're like, Showdown, and everybody's like looking cool, whatever. Then all of a sudden, Woody Harrelson just falls over the bowling pin. What do you call it? What is that? The ball return. Yeah, the ball return. Then Do Ya, Strange Magic. Another one I might move into the middle because it's a calmer song, and then All Over the World, and then Rock and Roll is King. I thought that was, it's not their biggest song by any means, but it just seems like it just reminds you of who they are and what they worked for.
Yes.
That's it. That only took us 20 minutes.
So I would love, and this is kind of our thing, I guess. This is the sort of thing I would love to be able to do. And of course, in a perfect world, you could do that, or if you're Queen, you could do whatever the heck you want, that sort of thing. But I would like to go to a concert where I can hear what I love.
And I would like it if you...
When they're in the middle... I'm sorry. When they're in the middle of releasing albums, they got to tour the album.
Yeah.
But anyway, go ahead.
I don't like everybody with a phone in their hands. Please enjoy the moment.
Yeah.
Please, just your brain still works. Remember, no one's going to watch these videos. No one's going to watch these pictures. They just don't. They go, oh, poorly taken video. Yep. And we have YouTube. Yeah. If you want to see what a concert's like, you can just watch a clip or two, a good clip, a professional clip. And it kind of diminishes, actually. So I've seen some bad clips that make me not want to see the band.
There's some, like, particular concert I went to with our friend Robert. We went to see Straper.
Yeah.
And it was in a venue in my hometown. I'm like, I don't know what I'm expecting here, but the nice thing about it is when I get in there, I'm in there with a bunch of people our age. There's like there was a lot fewer phones.
Yeah.
Up in the side.
I don't know. For me, it's all.
Or maybe it's the group. Maybe it's that particular crowd.
Because every concert I've been to where it's people my age and older just won't get up. When I went and saw Dwight Yoakam, everybody with a phone, and I was like, this doesn't even seem like that kind of concert. And yet everybody has a phone recording everything. And I was like, can't you guys just enjoy the moment, please?
Yeah. I rarely go to concerts. So when I'm there, I want to enjoy that moment.
Yeah.
It's just...
If I was in a band, I would call my tour the Be Here Now.
Yeah.
The tour. And like, no cell phones. You got to put them away. I have been to a couple concerts where they make you put your phone in a bag and put it away. Or like when I saw Adam Ant, they just had security guys going around with flashlights and shining into the phone. It goes, that's your one warning.
Mm-hmm.
After that, you're leaving.
Ooh,
yeah.
I'll do it.
Because it does, if you do a good recording, it can have two effects. If it's bad recording, it can ruin anybody wanting to come see your concert. But two, if it's a good recording, then why would people want to come see the concert?
Exactly.
Yeah, they're like, well, I just sit here and watch this for free.
Yep.
Yeah, so the only time I'm
Napster all over again.
yeah, the only time I'm okay with it is if it's a band that's no longer around.
Yeah.
That's not touring. They've never really released any concerts or whatever. But, or like, like back in the day when HBO and Showtime, when they were competing or whatever, and they would do stuff that normal TV shows or stations wouldn't do. So the stand-up special, the comedy stand-up specials and the concert specials.
Yeah.
And some of those are kind of lost to time. Apparently, there is a film, 1980, of the Black and Blue concert where it was Black Sabbath and Blue Oyster Cult.
Ooh.
And it was in theaters for 2 weeks, and no one knows where the prints are. It's lost. It's never released on VHS, but if someone ever finds that and releases it online, yeah, I'm going to watch that. Well, I guess that is it for this episode. We're going to be jumping into the 80s from now on. We got a lot of exciting stuff. We're going to be doing New Wave, the all-American kind of, also like there's Canadian kind of stuff in there with Bryan Adams and Corey Hart, Rick Springfield, come on. And then there's 80s country that we're going to be doing. And then there has like the whole movement with like Prince and all of his groups that he was attached to, and Michael Jackson, all the groups he was attached to, Gloria Estefan. And
that one's going to be a hard one.
Yeah, there's a lot of interesting stuff going in the 80s because of MTV opening up the playfield, where you had different genres now that everybody got to see. Because there's punk, there's new wave, there's dance. And there's hair metal, there's stuff there. Though, I bet you that we're like, we won't be doing that much hair metal. Then we're gonna like, let's talk about Steelheart. I don't even remember that band. Where's my, like stuff like that. Danger.
I see.
Yeah, we never know. It's sometimes you don't know if you like a band or if you haven't listened to them in a long time or you kind of aged out of it. Some of the stuff like, I give Poison a really hard time. But I bet you if you put on an album right now,
you'd sing it.
Every lyric. Yes. And we're like, oh, yeah, I remember this.
I know this one.
Okay, so that is it, everybody. Thank you for listening. And Ron, thank you.
Thank you.
We're out.